Another week, boys, and another TWAB. This week at Bungie, Mithrax told the legend of the Saint. Over the last few weeks, the tower has been bathed in darkness due to the endless night. Guardians have been exploring the Vex network in search of solutions to this chilling predicament. With each override, we're one step closer to our goals. Expunge. Mithrax has been with us from the start, but took a moment this week to share what it's like as a member of the House of Light. If you haven't seen the cutscene yet, finish your weekly quest to get a good dose of lore. Let's get on with the TWAB, shall we? We have Ironbetter coming back around next week and the announce of a fresh fashion show. That's right, guys. This past week, the second expunge mission, we had a new cutscene. It was actually really good, and it gave insights to how the Fallen view Guardians, most notably Saint, which was interesting. Now, moving on to Iron Rising. Lord Saladin returns next week for a renewed round of Ironbetter. Things might feel a little different as we release a new round of stasis tuning earlier this morning. By the way, guys, we will have a before and after video of every stasis change. And I'm here to tell you, fellas, stasis has been nerfed, and I mean substantially. So much so that in my lobby today inside of Crucible, everybody was playing with light-based subclasses. Kind of wild. Now, if you're aiming to get a little higher in the Pinnacle Power band, make sure to complete some Ironbetter bounties, as they'll provide Pinnacle Power rewards. Last Ironbetter, the Reese Walker shotgun and Archon's Thunder machine gun were introduced through a seasonal quest. We quickly identified an issue where these new tools of destruction weren't available through alternate means. If you've been holding tokens for future loot, it's almost time to sell. I can make a joke about diamond hands here, but I think you've already connected those dots. Ironbetter starts 10 a.m. on Tuesday and ends the following week, Tuesday, June the 15th. Alrighty, guys, the shotgun, the machine gun will be dropping, finally. Also, we are running way behind on reviews. I still haven't reviewed the Ironbetter hand cannon or the sniper. We'll get to those. Moving on, splicing down the runway. Well, some say fashion is the true end game of Destiny, and I'm somewhat inclined to agree. With the addition of the Guardian appearance screen in Season the Splicer, we've been seeing countless Guardians mixing and matching their armor to build wonderful creations. It's about time we put your skills to the test with a fashion show. Think you've got the best look in the community? Let's see if you can prove it and earn yourself this eye-catching fashion emblem. Ah, look at that. So how do you enter? First, you dress up, throw together a mix of awesome armor and sweet shaders to create a set that you believe is a winner. Submit a screenshot on Twitter or Instagram with hashtag Splicer Fashion Show to enter, and winners will be chosen between June the 7th and June the 12th at Destiny the Game. If you win, one of our community managers will reach out so we can hook you up with a sweet emblem. Oh, look at Bungie trying to get us all involved with transmog. I see what's happening. No lie, that emblem is pretty sweet though. Now, another patch out the door. Earlier today, Destiny 2 hotfix 3.2.0.3 went out the door. Not only did we inject a stasis tuning patch, we also included a few bug fixes. We're still tracking a few issues, and player support has the most up-to-date details. This is their report. Photosensitivity notice. Recently, we've seen reports of certain in-game effects impacting photosensitive players. Dude, why is that word hard for me to say? We appreciate everyone who notified us of these issues. In addition to an in-game notice that was distributed this week, we're working on adding a permanent notice as part of the end-user license agreement. What is this, like epileptic people? Is that it? I can definitely see parts of the raid and of course, like flashing on the screen, messing with your eyes. But Bungie's looking at this, guys. Moving on, teleporting enemies update. As mentioned in previous TWABs, we've been noticing more teleporting enemies since the launch of Beyond Light. This past Tuesday, we tweaked the outgoing bandwidth limits that our servers use in order to provide more capacity for us to network data about what AI are doing to players. We believe that this will reduce significant source of AI teleporting across the game. Note that certain activities will still have some teleportation issues that will not be affected by this change. I wonder, does this affect PvP at all? God, I hope so, because for some reason here recently, lag has just picked up again inside of PvP. Maybe it's just the dip in Crucible population. Now, PC performance update. Since Beyond Light shipped, players on PC have been experiencing less than ideal performance. Here's an update from our game performance team about PC performance updates. Performance testing and optimization on PC is very complex due to the different combinations of hardware, software, and in-game settings. With the release of Beyond Light, we made some major engine changes while working from home. One of the unfortunate consequences of working from home is that we no longer had access to our PC compatibility lab to do in-depth testing on the performance impacts of our changes. Partially, as a result of this, the update introduced regrettable performance decreases on some PC configurations, some configurations more than others. We've been working on making improvements with every release since then, even though it doesn't always show up in the patch notes. Our work has been slow, as we've been forced to rely on our external partners and metrics from the live game. What this means in practice is that we make optimizations that seem effective based on our internal tests, but we don't know if they'll be helpful more widely until we receive feedback from the labs at external partners such as AMD or from you when you play the game. Today, the game's performance is close to what it was before Beyond Light for some PC configurations. Because of the difficulty in predicting how much each change will improve performance, we've been reluctant to promise a fix even though we are making regular performance optimizations. We're aware of these problems and are continuing to work on them and are optimistic about the future. Yeah, I noticed, what was it, Vault of Glass day 1? Man, I was really dipping down there in terms of frame rate. Now granted, not rocking the best PC, I still got a 1080 Ti, but fellas, have you seen GPU prices here lately? It's crazy, man. Now that's pretty much our TWAB, guys. I do want to touch on some of the patch notes today though, but before we get to that, a quick note here from DMG. Thanks for stopping by for another week of TWABness. Season the Splicer has been fun so far, and there's still quite a bit to look forward to. There's Iron Banner next week, weekly raid challenges, Vault of Glass difficulty options, Solstice of Heroes, and more. Even outside the seasonal content, there's a lot to get excited about in the future of Destiny. A few of us have said our best days are ahead. With every playtest, shot of gears, or piece of concept art that passes by my desk, I can't help but agree. Oh, look at that! That was a quick tease, and we are eager to show you more about the Witch Queen. Expect to hear from us again and more details later in the summer. We have some awesome content to play between now and then. See you out there in the wild. Cheers, DMG. Hold on, let's just take a quick look at this armor. Look at that. The eyes doesn't necessarily look optimal, but does look pretty damn awesome. But look at the runes underneath. What are those, like the 9? Somebody get Bife in here. What does this say? Hunter's Crutch on Stasis. Oh, that's amazing. No lie, that looks pretty awesome though. Now, big shout out to my Steam Discord. Jay and them actually shared out to me one of the concept art pieces from a while back. So this is actually similar to the runes, or they kind of look similar to those runes, right? And about 3 months ago, there was actually a Reddit thread going around essentially stating that the Witch Queen armor sets were tied to actual alchemical primes. And I'm just gonna pretend to know what the hell any of that means, but essentially atomic numbers, weights for certain elements, Leviathan's cross, symbols for water and air. Looks dope. If you're really interested in that though, I will link that Reddit thread in the description. And then of course we've got the background, which I don't know, kind of looks jungly. What is this? Is that Florida? I don't know, but let your speculations run wild. Now, before I let you go today, I do want to touch up real quick on the hotfix. Now, I'm not going to go over the stasis changes because we will be covering them extensively. I've got a 45-minute long video for you, and I know you probably don't want to watch 45 minutes worth of content, but it's before and after stasis nerfs. I want you to watch it, guys, because essentially you see how much of a nerf some of our stasis subclasses got. But something I want to bring up, first up, Path of the Burning Steps no longer grants a stack of its buff on becoming slowed by stasis. This is only when you become encased. So only when you get frozen does Firewalker and that buff actually activate, outside of getting the kills, right? Getting solar-based kills. So definitely a nerf there. Also, Star Eater scales. States now correctly grants its damage bonus while the player is standing in a Well of Radiance. The status icon for Feast of Light now correctly scales up to ×8, gaining 1 stack per orb picked up. They also fix an issue when calculating super bonus damage. Having 4 stacks of Feast of Light will grant a 55% bonus to super damage, and having a full 8 stacks grants a 70% bonus to super damage. For context, the original formula at the start of the season was 60% bonus at 4 stacks. Similar, and realistically, Feast of Light ×4 is doing just 5% less than what it was doing earlier this season, but it's actually doing less now than what it was doing last week when we actually damage compared everything, because it was doing something like, what was it, 80 or maybe even like 90% more damage. It was doing more damage, and we even tested the damage numbers out today during the stream. Just know the damage is more than what it was when Star Eater scales first came out, but less than what it was last week, because the buff that it received last week was not intentional. However, you do have to collect more orbs, which personally I kind of find it difficult to utilize, at least for ×8. Like obviously I can just go for ×4, but what the hell, guys? Most of us want ×8. We want that big bump there in damage, and it's kind of a hassle. I kind of wish Bungie would have just left it alone and just allowed us to retain the damage buff that we had last week, because that seemed to offset the 4 extra orbs we had to collect. Just my thoughts. But anyways, guys, those exotics have been nerfed alongside a bunch of other stasis changes. Our stasis review will be out later this evening, so be looking out for that. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.